So let's start. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly review, where
Oh,
we're going to talk about the week of the teachers or us, because
yeah.
this week was literally about us. I think what did we do or what did you do in this
I
week?
I didn't do anything
Yeah,
because
as always.
because of not at all. I'm actually quite hardworking person, you know? But this week was a special week. Why? Everybody knows? Because it was Golden Week in Japan. What is Golden Week? You are the half
Golden
Japanese.
week.
Yeah, what is it?
I mean, I don't know exactly what kind of holidays we have, but this is the week, or actually mostly just a few days where we have a bunch of holidays after each one another.
Yeah.
And this
And
time, how many days were there? 5 days?
this week was a bit shorter than normally, I think. We had just 4 days? No, 3 days this week. If you count from Monday, we
Yeah,
had the Monday was off, the the Tuesday, and we had a kind of or they called it substitute holiday. In Japan, I don't know how it works in other countries, but in Germany, we don't have substitute public holidays. Means in Japan, if public holidays is on a Sunday, it will be repeated on another day. So mostly on Monday. But because this week, in the Golden Week, we had another holiday on Monday. What was it on Monday? Monday we had which holiday? We had the Midori Hi. Midori no Hi is the day
Green
of
Day,
the green day, the day of the green, whatever it is, I don't know.
the nature.
Uh, the
Yeah,
nature.
that's the thing about the Japanese holidays. They give random names and random reasons to get some holidays, give some holidays to people. But we don't know exactly what kind of holiday it is, but we don't really care. As long as it's a holiday and we can take a rest, that's the only thing that matters.
And sometimes we have even new holidays, right? I think,
Yeah.
what was it? What was it? The one, was it the Umi no Hi? Was it
Umi no Hi,
yeah, I think
the
it's
day of the
quite
sea.
new. Yeah, I think it
Mhm.
was in August, I think, right? And I think
Yeah,
it's a
it should be.
quite new holidays that they introduced or they implement this holiday, I think some years ago. I don't know why, maybe because August doesn't have so many, but that does, huh? August actually has a
I
holiday,
think
right?
so, I do.
Yeah. I don't know why.
August has some holidays.
We need a holiday in June. There's no public holiday in June. I think it's the only
Yeah.
month without any holiday. But anyway,
So
and
there
the
are
golden,
some
yeah,
like, yeah, Yama no Hi, the day of the mountain,
yeah,
Umi no Hi, the day of the sea, and Midori no Hi, the day of the green, and something like that.
yeah. I see.
And it
I'm
doesn't
green
make really
today.
too much sense. We're not eating like fish on Umi no Hi or anything, but just
Yeah,
it's just a naming.
yeah, and that's why we had 3 days in a row off. Means the Monday was a Midori no Hi, the green day. Tuesday was the Children's Day. No, it's a Kodomo no Hi, no? Yeah, it's always the 5th of May. And 6th of May was the substitute holiday for the Sunday holiday. And this was the Kempo Kinembi. It's a day of the Constitution, right? Is it
Hmm.
correct? I think let me check again. Yeah, yeah, it says yeah, yeah. Constitution Day observed here in my calendar. In my calendar. Yeah, so means we didn't have yeah university or school during these days, and especially in my case, I even had a day off on Thursday because my university had a day off on this day. I don't know why. And it was not completely correct what I said. I was I was not that lazy because on Friday I had to work. On Friday was a normal, yeah. working day for me. I work at the university, and yeah, surprisingly, yeah, almost all students came in because I had a test. That was the reason. That's why almost all students appeared, came to
The
my
only
class.
time they come in.
The other class, there was like a yeah, more or less the half. The other class. Yeah. So this was my golden week. Nothing special. How was your week?
That's pretty good. I mean, a little bit busy, but I had the last exam at the uni, and that one was pretty interesting because my professor, that one, he's an old guy. He's a very nice person, but also a little bit weird. And when he's planning on the exam, he didn't check out the room or the tables that we're getting. So apparently it turns out like we already knew that our exam's going to be 2 hours exam, written exam, where we have to choose between four topics, like just one topic to write about, and it's in essay format. So it's like quite straightforward, I would say. But the thing is, he told us like, may I apologize because he's an old person and he's this is the way he speaks. And I didn't check the kind of room that we're getting. So the room we were getting was like quite small because we were just small group.
Very cozy,
But
very narrow.
yeah, you know the kind of seat where they don't have any, like when you don't have any tables in front of you, but instead you have a tiny desk
Ah,
next
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
attached to
This
the
one.
seat.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's
Mm.
pretty uncomfortable to write if you have to write like a lot. But that was the only thing we were getting. And he was like, sorry, I didn't check what kind of seats or tables we were getting. So that's all we have. And another problem was he told us that, well, we realized that there were no clocks or not even one in the room. And then he eventually said, okay, so just for the time checking purpose, you can use your phone. So you don't have to
And
turn it
everybody
off.
was internet
I
surfing,
mean, I think I should assume none
researching.
of us were doing. At least I didn't see anyone do that, and I didn't do that. But yeah, that was kind of surprising because officially, like in the exam, for the other ones, especially, like where we gather up in a bigger room with like 500 other students like that, they're strictly checking that nobody's using phone and they have like clock in
Mm.
front of the whole room so that everyone can see and stuff. But this was very badly prepared and was just for the small group, so we didn't care too much. It was kind of interesting. And even the fact that we got just one topic for 2 hours exam was like kind of interesting because we usually get two for 2 hours exam. But yeah, that was one of my
Mm.
experiences. It
So,
was
but your professor doesn't listen to our podcast, or does he?
no, he doesn't.
Because if maybe he would not be so amused
No,
hearing his
he
students
will be
talking
okay.
about his
But I did
yeah,
I did
not
say
very
just now that
perfect
he's a
organization.
nice one. He's a good guy. It's a little bit interesting character, but he's not a bad guy. I
He's
did
a
enjoy his
he's a
classes.
disorganized good guy.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, okay. I
But
have a question. Yeah,
yeah.
no, but I
So
have a
yeah.
question to you. You just said 2 hours. You had to write an essay. What
Mhm.
does 2 hours mean in Ireland? Is it like two times 45 minutes or two times 50 minutes? Or in Germany, it's almost 45 minutes in 1 hour, one school hour, right? And in Japan, it changed to one comma. Used to be 90 minutes in Japan, and they changed the curriculums years ago, and the standard is now like 100 minutes, and some university even have 105 minutes for 1 hour. We call one school hour. How is it in Ireland?
No, first of all, when it comes to exam, 2 hours exam is just straightforward 2 hours, like 120 minutes,
Oh, okay.
no break. But usually for the classes, which the interesting thing is in German unis, what I get is 90 minutes classes. But here
Mm,
in Ireland, I've had just 15 minutes classes. Like some of them
hmm
2 hours or 90 minutes. It depends on the course as well. The one that I was joining had generally only 50 minutes classes, which is pretty
Wow.
nice actually,
Well, it's
because
quite
I
short,
don't
isn't it?
feel too much. It is short, and for that, like in Germany, I would get just one class per week or two. It depends on the
Mm.
subject. But one is pretty typical. Just once a week, we're going to meet up for 90 minutes. We're going to have the class. But here we have 15 minutes class. And for that, we have generally two classes in a week. And I think
Mm.
it's way better, like,
Okay.
because you don't feel too much stress in the class and you get exhausted and stuff like that.
And yeah,
But
and
instead,
students
it's
cannot
short and
concentrate
sweet.
that long time anymore, right?
You mean because of TikToks and
Yeah,
everything, yeah?
TikTok is a TikTok syndrome.
Yeah.
The students cannot concentrate more than 50 minutes anymore. But it's interesting
I
because here
find
in
it,
yeah.
yeah, I
Mm.
find it pretty nice, and especially because, well, I was doing mainly his history related topics in the uni. And at least there, I feel like this it's more about reading and like time that you take after the class to deepen your knowledge instead
Mm.
of what you do in the classroom. So it's more like a discussion place when you're in a
Oh, okay.
classroom. So you don't really need 90 minutes for that, I think.
Okay, because I'm a teacher at the university, and I even find 100 minutes a little bit too short sometimes. Huh? At one universities, we
Um,
always have a double lessons, means we have two times 100 minutes, and I think this is quite nice, especially for language classes, because you have lots of time for discussing, for practicing, and I th I think if you perform well, if you do an interesting class, it doesn't feel like 200 minutes. And
so
at the hmm?
you would ideally teach for 200 minutes straight with a bit of break.
Yeah, this is actually what I also did when I used to work for the Goethe Institute. We always had like in Germany we have like 45 minutes, 1 hour. It means like 4 hours, means
Mm,
180 minutes. And I really found it, yeah, really appropriate for learning a language. And
yeah.
I also teach at a high school, at a senior the girls high school in Tokyo, and I just have 50 minutes. And it's super, super short to do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I teach in the first period, the first lesson of the day, and you can imagine what happens if the trains are late and the students come late, maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. Then I have just 30 minutes left. What can you do during these 30 minutes? Once
Yeah.
everybody is settled down and everything's organized at tables, I always work in group, as you know, right? Groups, as you know,
Hmm.
then they have to arrange the tables. They had to sit down. They had to get off all the stuff from their bags, and yeah, and it's always almost over the class. So it means
Yeah.
for me, I think 50 minutes. It's almost nothing for especially from teaching language. I don't know if it would be better with mathematics or
I
I don't know,
agree.
but
I agree.
this
Like for
yeah.
language teaching, I think the function of the classroom is a bit different. If you want to communicate and have a good practice with using the language, then it's kind of too short if you have just 50 minutes. Especially for my students, when they're starting off, they usually prefer to study for just 60 minutes per week
Mm,
and not like two classes every
mm,
week, but just one. And it's good for keep them motivating and not to get overloaded with a lot of work and
mm,
like a new language and stuff. But I would actually say it's better to have like 90 minutes class if possible. So I every time try
yeah.
to convince them into getting some 90 minutes
Mhm,
class instead of 60. Like, do you not want to do a 90 minutes class? It would be like more, I don't know, organized,
mhm.
more, we could be
Yeah.
more creative, but they're like usually no, just 60 minutes would be enough. But for me
Especially
personally,
yeah.
it's better.
Yeah, especially if you as a teacher have has to change the room, the classroom. Yeah? If I use, for example, my PC, my laptop, I have to
Hmm.
connect and have to install all the technical equipment. and then I have to leave the classroom, go to another one, and have to install everything again. And if I'm just 5 minutes late, 10% of the class is already over. You know, I mean, at this school, at this high school, I teach in the same classroom. That's why it's no problem over there. But also at the universities, that they sometimes have to fight with the administration office and at the universities to have the same room, because if I have just 10 minutes left, 10 minutes break, and I have to go to a different building, then I lose time for teaching, because I have to go there and I have to connect everything again. And yeah, that's why I'm always
Yeah.
fighting for having the same room, or at least a room that's a neighbor room, or not a different yeah, building, or even a different campus, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can tell you about one class that I had. This is so far probably the most memorable one for me. But I have a student who I teach for 90 minutes weekly, twice at the moment. She's learning Japanese with me. And like she's from Hungary and she's like teenager. So it was actually her first time in April that she went for voting. And at the beginning, I was just randomly, easily just asking her, "Are you interested in voting? Are you going to go there?" And then she was like, I'm not too sure yet, because the political things are like pretty annoying for a
Mm,
lot of
mm,
people.
mm,
And she was distressed. But I was like, this is going to be an important experience. So I wanted to try to convince her into going voting. Of course, I didn't talk about any political parties or anything like this party
mm,
is good, this is bad, so please go for voting for this party. I didn't do that, and I'm a foreigner there anyways. But I wanted to talk a little bit different thing than just like cultural language related things. And for this, the 90 minutes class was perfect because you
mm.
can dive deeper into some specific topics,
Right, right, right.
which we did. And I did a bit of different kind of differently styled Japanese class. So we still talked in Japanese, but talked about the important values for, I don't know, the future, not to say the future of the country,
Mm,
but when you're leaving and starting to live abroad in different countries, because a lot of us are going to be so far away from the family, the place that we used to, and if the politics is going to be unstable and you don't even know what's going to happen back home, and like all of a sudden things can change and then you won't be able to go back home and stuff. I have seen a lot of these things. So
mm,
I included her point of view. If you're going to be living in Japan, please consider that you always want a home that you can come back to.
mm.
And eventually she did go voting. I don't know if it's
Okay,
like
good, good.
related to my class, but still
So
the
good
fact
job.
that she
You,
went there is like,
yeah,
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 I'm
yeah.
very proud that she's one
You,
of the people, one of the millions of people who went voting.
yeah, and you convinced her to, yeah, to live democracy, right?
Maybe, maybe not. But it was
Mm,
like pretty memorable for me because I gave all the things that I could have done, I wanted to say.
mm,
And after that, you kind of feel a bit fragile mentally because you give everything away that you wanted to, and you don't even know if it was useful for the student or not. But you still did
yeah,
what kind of meant something to you.
yeah. And let me guess, you were discussing 60 minutes, but it didn't feel like 90 minutes, but it didn't feel like 90
90
minutes,
minutes.
right? Yeah, it was
No,
pass.
definitely not.
Yeah, it was time was passing so quickly, right? That's why I think it's depends also on the subject. I mean, if you have a very yeah, I mean, if the teacher has to speak a lot and you have to listen and you have to make notes, 90 minutes can be very long, right? But like classes where you discuss, where you're active, I think 90 minutes can even be short. For example, like physical education. Can you imagine physical education in 50 minutes or 45 minutes? I mean, you have to change your clothes, and once you have started, you have to warm up, and you once you have warmed up,
Yeah.
the lesson is over again. Yeah. But for example, I don't know, which class, but maybe I can imagine that some classes are so exhausting that even 50 minutes can be quite tough. And in this case,
Hmm.
maybe 90 minutes would be too long. Even though I think it's also the job of a teacher to if it's a hard topic to yeah, also have some breaks, some change the methods and the activities that the students can relax a little bit more, that they don't have to concentrate all the 90 minutes. I think this is the
But do you
reason why we need
sometimes
teachers.
feel,
Yeah.
is it harder to extend the class to fitting to the time schedule that you should think it's too long? Or is it harder to fitting everything for the time schedule that you think too short? Like if you have to give a course in 40
Yeah.
minutes, is it harder than if you were to give it in like too long time
No,
span?
shorter. More time is always
Mm.
better. Time is like money. Benjamin Franklin, time is money. But in this
More
case,
money is better.
yeah, more money is better than less money, right? And more time is better than less time. I think I don't have any problems to continue a class or to extend a class if I still if I'm already done with the stuff I wanted to do. For me, it's no problem. I always have an idea or activities, or I can extend the class. This is no problem. But I have a hard time to sometimes to put everything in one class. I have to finish because I don't know, because my colleagues have to continue from that point, or I have a test coming next week or next class. So I think it's always better to have more time. And in worst case, if you really don't have any idea anymore, then don't you finish a little bit earlier? It's also cool. Yeah, then you let the students go to lunch break a little bit earlier. Then they don't have to line up in the cafeteria.
Yeah. And when you have, for
Yeah,
example, just 3 minutes left in the class, do you try to fulfill the 3 minutes or you say, oh, let's just finish?
no. 3 minutes. What can I do within 3 minutes? I sometimes I often say, oh, we have 3 minutes left. So is anybody who can tell us a joke and we can something like this, you know?
That's great. That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
or I give them some or like orga information, something I
Hmm.
didn't plan to tell them this lesson, but I already give them an like preview of something or something like this. But 3 minutes, what can you do with 3 minutes? No. They
Hmm.
also have to put the tables in the original position again and have to tidy up, and that's okay. If I see mostly if I see on the floor, all my colleagues, the other teachers, they seem to finish all earlier. I'm always the last teacher in the building.
Oh,
It
really?
feels like it feels like this, yeah. All the teachers sometimes 10 minutes before the end of the class, there are already students on the outside on the floor. Yeah. So they don't teach until the end, or yeah. But I actually do
Okay.
because for me, I always need more time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you
That's
also
fun.
sometimes stick around with the students after class to have a chat,
Yeah, there's another thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's also my fault.
which I think
But it
is
also,
really good.
yeah, but also students come to me and they ask me questions or tell me something, what they have experienced. And yeah, actually I also enjoy it because this is a
Hmm.
real no conversation, and I'm also learning from my students what they tell me, what they have experienced, and I also learn to understand their way of thinking.
Hmm.
Sometimes, no, this is something you don't notice during the class because they don't ask in the class because it's maybe too personal or it's not to the topic,
Yeah.
but after the class they come and they ask me some question or something I have read somewhere or heard somewhere. No, what was it? Some gendering. There was a question about gendering in German. There was one student who came to me and asked me, "Yeah, and I heard that Germans have a problem with gendering in the language, and is it okay to say, okay, now it's German." Ich war am Wochenende mit meinen Freunden im Kino. Yeah, I went to see a movie with my friends, and in German we have the plural form, the female and the masculine form. And he was
Mhm.
worrying if he can use the masculine plural, the generic plural form in German
Yeah,
when telling that he went with his friend to see a movie. And he was afraid that this is would not be politically correct. So, and this is a question that has nothing to do with the topic in class, but this is something that the student was worrying about, and that's why he came to me after class and was asking me if this would be correct or what would be the right way to say it, and this is also interesting for me because then I feel, oh, okay, there's something that yeah, it's that occupies my students apart from my
yeah.
class. So, and they come
It's
to me and
something that
ask
would
me,
be,
and yeah,
yeah, that's something that would be interesting to talk about as well between us. Like,
yeah,
I've
deep
been
dive.
thinking a lot about it, like
But
exactly.
but we should
The
do it in German,
gendering
I
in the
think.
German language or some
Yeah,
others.
but we should do it in German because it's a very German thing and
Yeah.
it's difficult to explain
I
in
mean,
English.
yeah,
Even though
partially I
it's
think you could see in English as well, but definitely in Hungarian. Like not to the same extent as in German,
yeah,
but
I mean,
there
translating
it's
is
the same
different.
thing.
It's
Yeah,
difficult
yeah.
to translate into English. How can I explain to an English speaker? Even on the other side, you're right. Now, on the other side, I mean, if you do it in German, people who know German, maybe they know this problem. So it would be
Mm,
more interesting for native English native speaker, but for German language learners, maybe it's interesting. People
yeah, definitely.
who learn German in the moment or learn German and are not aware of this issue. What is the big issue in
Yeah,
Germany, right? And maybe you also have
yeah.
faced to this problem, right, in Germany.
And it's
Yeah.
partially something that the Japanese learners, the Japanese German learners are struggling with because surprisingly, socially it's different in Japan. Like it's far from equal between two genders or even more. But yeah, they don't have the same level of like
Mm,
division, gender division in words in Japanese. So it's
mm.
specific to German when they're learning the language.
Yeah, but I also had this issue in Japan. I can tell you in our deep dive podcast, I really had
Okay.
yeah, I really was kind of in a trouble in Japan because of a gendering problem, not made up by Germans, made up by Japanese. So in Japan is
Hmm.
also an issue, maybe not that big like in Germany, but I had a problem with that. I can tell you in the deep dive.
Okay, so we're not going to get into that right now. If you're interested, just keep
Yeah,
watching.
stay with us.
And at some point in the near future, we're going to talk about this as well, the
Yeah,
gendering in the language.
yeah, if you don't want to miss this interesting deep dive, subscribe our channel.
Exactly. And like if you enjoyed our conversation. So I think that's it for today.
Yeah, it
And
was a quite long deep dive if you think that we didn't that we didn't work so
we
much.
didn't
This is
dive deeper, but still we talked a lot.
yeah.
Okay, then thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, listening, and see you next time.
Bye
Bye.
bye.